All right, before I get started, you might want to pause the video and Google what the word Alliance means. I'll wait. Right? Exactly.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's your boy Will, and we are here. We are at our penultimate episode of Marvel Studios' Loki. This is, as all of these reviews have been, a spoiler review. So if you have not watched the episode, please make sure that you pause this video. Pause it, don't stop it. Pause the video first. Go watch the episode, and then come back and hear my overall thoughts on the episode and what I'm hopeful for with next week's finale and some of the Easter eggs and what I thought about the episode in general. That's your spoiler warning. Hopefully, if you're watching this video, you did watch the episode first, or if you just want to, support me and help a brother out, watch the video. I really appreciate it. So, and as always, hopefully you have subscribed to the channel for more. I do these episode reviews for most of the Disney Plus series. I've done it for WandaVision, Falcon and Winter Soldier. I've done it for The Mandalorian. I'm probably going to do it for the Book of Boba Fett. Probably going to do it for Hawkeye when those series drop towards the end of this year as well. But all that logistical stuff out of the way, let's talk about our episode entitled Journey into Mystery, which is, I believe, as well as an Easter egg, because that's what a lot of the early days of Marvel Comics were called, Journey into Mystery. But this does pick up immediately after the events of episode 4, where Loki and Mobius were pruned from the timeline, and we are left wondering what has happened to our stalwart best friends at this point. But we do pick up with Loki in this area known as the Void, which is kind of like Sakaar, whereas it's kind of a dumping ground at the end of time where all variants and things that were erased from the timeline aren't really erased, but they're just moved and dropped off in this desolate wasteland, where Loki is met by other variant versions of himself. We have classic Loki, who's played by Richard E. Grant, and we have Kid Loki, as well as an alligator version of Loki, which I think we're just sticking with alligator Loki, and of course our boastful Loki, who is the brother with the hammer. So as Loki's trying to get his bearings, they're being chased by this giant fog-like creature named Alliance, which, if you look it up and do a little backstory, it's a deep comic reference of this character, and it looks like the character's job is to eradicate any of the variants that land in this void, basically, as explained to by classic Loki and Kid Loki, who kind of seem to be our point of reference for this world. And if you pay close attention in the episode, there's a lot of Easter eggs floating all around. At one point in the episode, you see one of the, I forget the actual name of the ship, but it's the ship that Ronan the Accuser used in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 1. We also got Thanos copter just off camera that you briefly see as they're walking through trying to escape Alliance and try to get to some semblance of safety. It was really funny. There's a lot of deep cuts and a lot of stuff that I don't think you could really do in the MCU unless you were in this sort of situation where you're in basically a timeline graveyard. So another thing the TVA lied about, not being able to erase something from the timeline, just moving it to like a folder on your computer that you hide some stuff that you don't want people to know about that's in a folder that no one should touch, and you give it a fake name. And I'm talking way too much about this subject. Let's move on. Once they get to some sort of safety, we get some really kind of cool dialogue between the Lokis and our Loki, trying to understand where these Lokis came from, how they ended up here, why were they pruned. We find out Kid Loki actually killed his version of Thor. Our boastful Loki actually was able to defeat the Avengers and claim all 6 Infinity Stones. And classic Loki basically just kind of went off on his own and hid out on a desolate world and is very world weary. This Loki's seen it all. He's been through it all. And he's just he's very much of the type that, a Loki can't change its stripes or something like that. That sort of phrasing. At the same time as all this is going on, we still got Sylvie back at the TVA and interrogating Renslayer, and it's sort of brief yet not legit alliance forms temporarily as Renslayer is trying to stall until TVA reinforcements can come, while Sylvie's trying to figure out all she can about the TVA and who's really in charge and who created the Time Masters. And she gets cornered to the point where she steals Renslayer's tempad and prunes herself in order to hopefully be sent to the same area that Loki was sent to. So Renslayer in this episode really kind of showed a lot of her cards. She was aware that the TVA, when they prune someone, is sent to the void and not actually erased. However, she wasn't fully aware that the Time Masters were fake. And now she also is very interested in figuring out who is in charge or who's the person that's really controlling or created the TVA and who she's answering to, because it seems like she wants that power for herself. So very much an antagonist, maybe not the big bad. But Sylvie does show up in the void, and she's immediately attacked by Alioth, but is quickly saved by, you guessed it, our boy Mobius, driving a pizza truck, pretty much. Once our Loki decides to want to get back to the TVA. Of course, these other Lokis don't really want to do anything. He attempts to leave, but is confronted by even more Lokis. And this is where we're introduced to our mayor type Loki, who I thought was going to be a bigger character. He's really not. He's really just another version of Loki, as well as the other people around him, I believe, are supposed to be versions of Loki. A scuffle breaks out, and it's discovered that our boastful Loki is actually working for him, trying to take over what the kingdom that Kid Loki has. It's a little confusing, but it's a big old scuffle, and our Loki, classic Loki, Kid Loki, and Alligator Loki are able to escape in the foray of craziness that happens in that fight. It's really cool because classic Loki really shows off what is really capable with using magic instead of just the daggers, that he points out in a conversation with our Loki that, magic is a lot more powerful than just daggers. And we get to see that on full display in the episode too, which is one thing I really did like. I also like the fact that he is sporting the classic Loki comic book outfit. I think we've gotten a lot of those as of late, between WandaVision having the classic Scarlet Witch and Vision outfits, even though they were just more so for a Halloween episode. I thought that the way that the MCU is incorporating more of the classic looks is really fun, and they're doing it in unique ways that don't necessarily take away from some of the more modern designs that we get with a lot of the movies and the TV series. So I really enjoyed that part of the episode too. Eventually, Sylvie and Loki and Mobius and everyone converges together with the plan to enchant Alioth instead of trying to kill him, because Alioth seems to be more of a watchdog for something else, based off of the information that Sylvie was able to get from Renslayer and Miss Minutes before she escaped the TVA. Loki gives Morbius the tempad to return to the TVA, and his goal now is to burn the whole thing to the ground. He is very much no longer drinking the Kool-Aid. I'm curious as to how his confrontation with Renslayer is going to be. Hopefully, with the finale, we'll get some sort of satisfying resolution with Mobius' storyline, where maybe where he's instrumental in taking down the TVA and taking down Renslayer, while Loki and Sylvie go to confront whoever is in charge, whoever is the one who created the TVA. We get to see the bond and the connection that Sylvie and Loki have grow even stronger. Is it a romantic bond? I think it's left ambiguous enough that it's up to the viewer. It does seem very romantic, but it's also really sweet because they both really don't know how to act normal. Well, normal in the sense of how to act in a social situation where they don't feel like they have to wear these masks, or they don't have to put up a front or be a trickster. They can just be themselves. And I like how Loki really sees Mobius as a friend too. Before they part ways, Mobius goes to shake his hand, but Loki just goes in for a big old hug. And it was sweet. It's sweet. It's really cool to see how this version of Loki has kind of grown a lot quicker than the original version that we got through most of the movies, with such different situations. I mean, remember, just, a few episodes prior, this was the same Loki that was trying to destroy New York and defeat the Avengers, and within just what seems to be a short amount of time, but it's probably a lot longer in his mind, he has grown to be a much more complex character. All of these things, these walls that he put up, and this bravado and things have slowly, over the course of a couple episodes, have been broken down, and we get this Loki who is really trying to find his place. And that's with a lot of the characters. They're just trying to find their place, their own personal identities beyond what was predetermined was their identities. It's really deep, and it really makes this one of my favorite series. It's like, I haven't gone back to rewatch WandaVision or Falcon and Winter Soldier since watching them initially. Same thing with The Mandalorian. Loki is one series I feel like I kind of want to go back and rewatch once it's done. And I think it's just a testament to the writing, the acting, the performances of all the people on the series, because all these characters seemed very bland at first, or very by the books, but slowly but surely they've been broken down to their raw nerves, and are now able to really kind of look and see who they are. Especially for Loki, whereas Loki's had so much growth in the series, it's been really impressive. We've got to see more of his power set begin to manifest as well. When Sylvie goes to try to enchant Elias, she can't do it by herself, but she knows that Loki is capable of doing it, even if Loki doesn't feel like he's capable of it himself. He even tells her, like, I've never done this before. It's like, we're the same. You can do this. And lo and behold, he's able to help enchant Elias with some help from classic Loki, who's willing to sacrifice himself to help them take down Elias. He puts up this magnificent illusion of Asgard, which just shows, I'm like, this is peak, matured Loki at full power. And I think it's going to affect Loki and Sylvie on such a deeper level wherever they end up in the MCU going forward. And once they're able to enchant Elias, the smoke reveals this, looks like a castle. The castle in space and time. And that's gotta be where whoever is pulling the strings, the man behind the curtain. I've got a pretty good feeling, based off the fact that they're using Elias, who is in the comics so tied to Kang the Conqueror. It just makes sense that Kang is going to be introduced at the finale of Loki. Maybe, obviously not defeated, but maybe forced to give up his hold on the timeline, and this will cause the timeline to go completely crazy, completely forming a new multiverse, which will lead directly into Multiverse of Madness, and then he can go off and get his revenge in Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. The other option, and I didn't think about this until I saw the castle or the fortress, it's a long shot, and I don't think it is. I still think it's rather Kang, or it's going to be another Loki. It's going to be some other version of Loki, because this whole series has been nothing but Lokis. This episode quadrupled the amount of Lokis on screen at any given time. Which, by the way, this is probably one of the most entertaining episodes of the series. I think a lot of the quiet moments have been fantastic, but this actually had a really good blending of the quiet moments and the character interactions, and some of the action and the set pieces were really well done too. So this is probably my favorite episode. But the other person that it might be, and this is a long shot, he is a doctor. Are we possibly getting some sort of weird alternate version of Doctor Doom? I'm just putting that out there. The fortress looked very Latvian, if you think about it. A very Eastern European design, even though it's a very small, why am I doing this with my hand? It's a very small shot of it because it was at a distance. Could they be doing Doctor Doom? It's probably going to be Kang. It's the most logical choice, and it's the one that makes the most sense. So I'm pretty sure it's going to be Kang the Conqueror, which will not disappoint me at all. I think that's fantastic. So that's pretty much all the major stuff that happened in the episodes. There were a lot of Easter eggs and things within the rubble and in the decay of the void. We do see a shot of what was Avengers Tower, which looks more, I think the logo on it was actually a Stark Industries logo. So definitely from a different point in time, not necessarily Avengers Tower, but it was the same building itself. It was cool seeing all these different Lokis, seeing their different power sets. Kid Loki was pretty cool as well. I like how when they were transitioning from the surface to their little underground dwelling, we saw a version of Mjolnir, and it looked like a little tiny Thor in a bottle. And like I said, the Thanos copter, I was dying when I saw it. I was like, yo, that is hilarious. But and I'm sure I missed a bunch of other stuff. If you've seen some other ones, comment down below and let me know what you saw. I'm really happy with this episode. This is probably the most exciting episode in terms of action and things that were happening. I loved how this series took a lot of the quieter moments to really do this deconstruction of the Loki character, and I've loved every time they've done that, from the first episode to this one, where it's just Loki and Sylvie sitting outside having an awkward conversation with each other, which is a little bit romantic, but a little bit sort of admiring each other, even though you're the same person. This series can seem very confusing at times, but I love those quiet moments. But I also liked the design of Elias. I thought it was really cool use of this character as kind of the watchdog for the void. Even the fact that Miss Minutes, the little holographic clock, seems even more sinister, like she's not telling everything. Like, could this be a Miss Minutes is the real villain of the Loki series? I mean, it's anything's possible, what I feel like, with this series compared to something like Falcon and Winter Soldier, which felt very linear and very much setting up new characters. Whereas with Loki, I feel like the finale can blow the doors off and really kind of tee up some pretty interesting and exciting stories to be told with stuff like Spider-Man No Way Home and Multiverse of Madness coming up, and really kind of set off this whole multiversal phase 4 that we're getting, with all these different new branch realities, or even other realities that could end up just end up leading to a Secret Wars movie eventually in a couple years, which even the Russo brothers said they would love to come back for. I'm pretty excited for the finale. Hopefully you are too. That is my review of Loki episode 5. Have you seen it? What did you think about it? Comment down below. Let me know your thoughts. Also, if you noticed any other little Easter eggs and tidbits in the episode that you might have saw scattered around the void, let me know those as well. I'd love to hear what I might have missed. As always, thank you so much for watching this and all my videos. I really do appreciate it. If you did enjoy this video, why not subscribe to the channel for more? I do movie reviews, trailer reactions, some gaming content, some drinking content, just all things geeky at this point. I will be doing a review for Black Widow when I see it, probably this weekend, so look forward to that as well. You can follow me on all the social media listed at the end of the video. Like, share, and subscribe, and all that fun stuff. And as always, until next time, I will catch you later. Hey, thanks for watching this video. If you did like this video, why not give me a thumbs up and share it with your friends? You can subscribe to the channel by clicking on my gorgeous little face right over there. You can follow me on all the various social media platforms right below. And last but certainly not least, if you've got a few extra minutes, why not check out one of the lovely videos floating right over here. Later.